to Virtual STEM Club Teen Edition Light Cubes. I'm Sandy, and today we've got a really fun project creating circuits and playing with different color lights in that circuit. You should have picked up your Take and Make bag with just about everything you're going to need for the project. Let's get started. In your Take and Make bag, you're going to find 3 batteries, the CR2032 3-volt batteries, 3 binder clips, 4 4-pronged light bulbs, and we gave you 4 just in case one of them doesn't work. You're going to find 3 resistors, 3 copies of each one of these 2 templates because we're going to make 3 light cubes, and then you're going to find 2 rolls of copper tape. From home, you're also going to want some Scotch tape and a pair of scissors. So we'll just kind of set this stuff aside with the exception of the templates. And the first thing we want to do is cut out this template. And it doesn't have to be precise, but if you want to cut out all your templates while you're at it, that's a good first step to get out of the way. So, and we're just going to cut, there's a solid black line around the edge, and that's the one we're going to cut. And if you see, there's also a key here on your template that tells you the solid line we cut, the dotted line we fold, and this wide solid line is where we're going to put our copper tape. So we'll just cut all of these out. And then just when you're done, you can recycle your paper. You can also cut out, there's a little table here with A, B, C, and D in it. We can cut these out. They recommend those for use later on in the project. So if you want to cut those out while you're cutting and set them aside, we'll use them in just a little bit. Cut that. And then just separate them. And set them aside. And then while you're cutting, you can also cut out your cube that we'll use a little bit later on. And the cube is just going to bring out the brightness of the colors in our little experiment here. Again, on the solid lines, this one has solid lines and some dotted lines, and we'll fold them. This one on the dotted lines as well. And then this one we'll just cut like that. And just keep cutting until you're all the way done with this one. And then just set aside your paper. Alright, so we'll set the cube aside for now. And on our dotted lines on this template, if you want to go ahead and fold those, just make some folds on your dotted lines. Alright, so just fold. And kind of crease the fold spots. this way, and this one will kind of make a point. And it'll just make it a little easier to move things once we get our copper tape down. So now that we've done that, we're gonna start laying down our copper tape. So you'll want to, they stick together a little bit. Some of them are stuck together, so we just want to separate them. And then they have a plastic outside wrap. You just take that off and throw that away. And it doesn't matter which way you start laying your copper tape down. Just, again, follow these solid lines. And this tape does tear fairly easily, but it's okay. If you tear your tape, you just can start right over the top of it, and I'll show you what I mean. So it's pretty thin. We can just lay it down here, and we just run it along this track. But if for some reason I accidentally tear my tape at any point, we're just gonna say it tore. All you have to do is start over like this and just make sure that your little tear spot is covered. So then we'll get to the end, and you can either cut or tear when you're here at the end. And then we're just gonna keep working our way around the template, making sure that all of our solid lines are covered. And for the areas where you come to a corner, what you want to do is you want to take your tape, and then you're going to fold it kind of in a triangle or angle like this, and then kind of hold it down a little bit, and then go the way you need to go. And see how that made a little corner, so we don't have to tear our tape at each corner. We just go around the corner, and you just kind of pull your tape back and smooth it along as you go. And if you run off the edge, that's okay. The edge of your little line. And again, when you get to the corner, we're gonna take our tape and we're gonna fold it kind of at a right angle, making a little corner or angle, and then just start going the way the template shows. And you just do that at each corner and you should be fine. And it doesn't matter, however it works easiest for you. And you just keep filling your lines. Okay, and we're gonna bend. And kind of hold it and go back. Keep going and smoothing your tape. And we're gonna fold the opposite way of where we need to go. And we'll hold it down. And if the backing gets in your way, you can always just tear that off and set it aside for disposal when you're done. And do our corner here. That one got a little crazy, so if you need to, you can gently pull it back and try to fix it. This one's sticking pretty good, so sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. We'll do our fold and come to the end here. And again, we'll fold it back the opposite way. Make our little corner. And see there I had a little tear. So if I just go back and make sure I'm overlapping my previous run of tape, I should be okay. So we'll go here. And it happens sometimes. This tape is kind of fragile. And cut into my last run here. Oops. Now I've got my tape twisted. Alright, so we'll go make our fold. Get to the end. Make our corner. Do your fold. Make our corner. And the tracks, for lack of a better word, are set up this way so we can accommodate our RGB light bulbs. And RGB stands for red, green, and blue. So once you have all of your tape run, and again, if you've got little wrinkles, it should be fine. But we're going to take our light bulb, and the tricky part about this is there's 4 prongs on there. You want to find the longest one, and that's the one that needs to go on this track that's going to connect to our battery. And it even tells us right here in our template that the longest leg goes right here. So you'll look at your light bulb, you'll find the longest leg, and you'll kind of bend it a little bit so that you can bend the others out of the way so that you know this is the one. And we'll just take it. These wires are pretty bendy, and you're going to set it down here, and then you're going to take your copper tape and you're going to go over that leg and tape it to our circuit. So we've got our longest leg bent here. We're going to take our tape, cover that metal on that leg, and then just when you feel the end of the leg, just tape it. Make sure it's taped down. And then we'll take our other 3 legs and attach each one to one of the other circuit areas. If they're too long, like this one is pretty long to fit before the bend, you can always take your fingernail and just kind of bend it into a zigzag pattern. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's kind of a zigzag. That'll shorten it a little bit and make it fit a little better. And I'm going to do that on this one as well. Just kind of bend them into a zigzag so they fit your circuit better. And then just take your copper tape and then just cover, make sure the leg of your light bulb is covered with your tape. Let's do that. Make sure you're connecting it to the previous copper tape that's there. I'm going to kind of tape over that one just a little bit. All right, the other thing that we want to make sure of when we're doing this is that the tape doesn't connect on each one of the legs. So I think I might be a little close on that, so I'm kind of scooching it over. But I think we're good now. All right, now that we've got all of the legs of our RGB light taped down, the next thing to do is to take our battery and take it out of the package. And then you might have to use your scissors for this. It's kind of, sometimes they don't want to come out very easily. But this is, while I'm doing that, you can take a look, and we've got everything covered in our copper wire. All right. And if you look on your template, this tells us the negative side of the battery, which is the textured side, should be here. And then when we fold this over, the positive side is going to be on the side of the battery that shows the little plus sign. So we're going to take and test our circuit now. And we'll fold it over. All right, so you might have to put your binder clip on there to hold it in place. We'll test it and see if we can find all three colors. Here's our blue, here's our green, and there's our red. So when you find the circuit, and how we figure that out is you can lift this up, and if your copper tape is crossing over this circuit, you want to follow that down, and we're going to use the resistor, and we're going to cut a hole in our circuit and place the resistor. And the reason that we do that is that the red uses more voltage than the other colors, and if we don't take away some of that voltage with the resistor, the red will overpower everything when we're trying to make different colors. So just remember which track your red is. Take your scissors and cut just a small hole. Just half an inch maybe-ish. And then you're going to take your resistor and you're going to just take it out of the little tape that it comes in. And again, we're going to tape over this. And this one is a little long, so if it's too long, we're going to do our little zigzag bends again so it fits. This side is okay. So we'll take some more copper tape. Tape our little legs down. Looks like that's all good. One little tip that I do have for you when you are testing your circuit, if for some reason when you put your battery down with the positive side up, you don't get anything on here, you can always just flip your battery the other way and see if that's the problem. Sometimes that happens, not often, but see, we flipped it here and it didn't work for ours. But if you have a problem, try that first. That's the easiest thing to correct. And so now that we've got our resistor in, we can go down. And it keeps a better constant connection if we clip it. Alright, so there we have our blue, there we have our green, and then we have our red. And then if we try to mix some colors, we're mixing, find the spot and we mix. Alright. We can kind of mix. Just play with it. There I had a yellow. The other thing they recommend that we do is those little tabs that we cut out before, just tape them down, and they say that that kind of helps separate the colors and make the color mixer work better. So we can just tape these down. I think it just creates a little division between the circuits for the different colors. Oops. And you could, if you don't want to use tape, you could also use some glue. So now we have our blue, here we have a red, and now it's mixing the color better. So, and it's keeping a constant mix on that, because blue and red makes purple. So I'm touching the blue circuit and the red circuit and making purple. And again, you can move your fingers along and make all different kinds of colors, but that's the basics of that. And then we can also make our little cube that highlights the colors better. And when we do that, all we need to do is just bend the little flaps on the cube. And bend these. And then we'll just, again, I'm just bending along the fold lines that are pre-printed on the cube. And then we'll just start taping that, or you could glue if you would prefer glue. And I'm just taping the folds onto the next flap. And to me, this is the hardest part of the project, get my fingers in there to tape the cube together. I suppose you could also tape it on the outside if it makes it easier for you. And then you can tape your little cube here. And I think that shows up your colors much, much better when you do that. You can just play and create colors, and then you can take all three. If you want to do all three. Oops. Battery fell out. Take our clips. And if you want it neat and tidy, you can do like we did here and bend this over and then bend this one to the underside. Make sure our battery's in the right spot. On there. You can tape it down to keep it in place. Let's do this. There we go. Just a little more tape. And there we have it. Our little light cubes and color mixing. And blue, light blue, some red, and just play with it and make all kinds of colors. Okay, so in review here, we took our template, we laid down copper wire, we added our RGB light, and RGB again means red, green, blue. We added a power source, which is our battery, and the way we laid our copper tape out allows us to create a circuit, which means that the power is going to run all the way around. And how we get each circuit for the different colors is we take and lay our copper, which is on the front and back of the battery, which closes the circuit, and then we make sure that our copper connects continually with our binder clip. And then when we touch in the different spots of the RGB light circuit, then we've got our blue circuit, and by touching the copper along this part of our circuit, that activates the blue circuit. That one will activate the green circuit, and this activates our red circuit. And then if we touch multiple places, we combine circuits or make combined colors. Thank you for joining us for Virtual STEM Club Teen Edition Light Cubes. I hope you had fun with this project. It's one I really liked. We'd love to see any video or pictures of you doing this project, and you can share them with us at the email address that's coming across your screen. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Bye.